Hello and welcome to Seaside Chats. I'm Jim Fowler, Vice President for Enrollment Management at Salve Regina University in amazing Newport, Rhode Island. And today we're here to talk about the graduate program in leadership dynamics and practice, which is an exciting option for students that are seeking to grow their leadership abilities in any type of organization, who are looking for ways to become a more effective leader, a leader that today's society needs and today's businesses need. With me today is Dr. Nancy Gordon, who is the program director for the Leadership and Dynamics program, Dr. David Altounian, who is Vice Provost for Graduate Studies here at the university, as well as a professor in the program, Lisa Milich, who is a recent graduate of our program, and we'll be able to talk a little bit about how the program has helped her in her career, and last but certainly not least, Michael Dwyer, a current student in the program, who has a very fascinating background in healthcare and administration, and he'll talk a little bit about what he's bringing to the table and what the Leadership Dynamics program is doing for him. But to start with, Nancy, I certainly want to ask you to just talk a little bit from your perspective. What is the Leadership Dynamics and Practice program, and who is the type of student that it serves?
Well, both our students sitting here across the table. The program is a program for a diverse group of folks who are either interested in upward mobility in whatever system they're working in now, or have the need for a career change and are interested in the kind of leadership that we provide. Can be working in a community, can be family systems, but somebody that is really interested in understanding that leadership can be learned and that the skills can be learned and the skills are transferable across many dimensions and many systems and many careers.
I think that's a really interesting point about leadership as earned. I think a lot of people think about leadership as inherent, and that there are some people that are, we've heard the term born leaders.
Yes.
Can you expand a little bit more on what are some of the skills that students will be exposed to in this program and develop over the course of the curriculum?
Yes, we look across a wide dimension of skills, starting with personal learning and mastery, finding out who you are, first of all, as a person, and then who you are as a leader, and what are the kinds of skills that we can provide that help you understand your own self. Because honestly, what do you bring to a leadership position but you? So that's first. We also work with group dynamics, so you can understand what facilitating a group is all about. Systems work, understanding whatever system you might be interested in working in or thinking about. What are the dynamics that provide structure around learning what a system is? How do you wrap your arms around the questions that say, okay, I'm looking at the system I'm working in now or a system I'm interested in. How do I get to understand it? So we look at that, and also a bit about purpose and values and teamwork, and also about how can you lead from wherever you are in the moment.
Well, I think that you just hit upon one of the big differentiators for Salve's program,
Yes.
which is that as an institution that is Mercy mission driven, we're a place that emphasizes the Mercy critical concerns, that we have a role in working for a better society, but also an opportunity to approach leadership through an empathetic lens. And Lisa, I kind of want to bring you into the conversation here as a graduate of the program and someone that has a really interesting career trajectory at this point. Can you talk a little bit about, what it is that you do now and how the Leadership Dynamics and Practice program helped you on that path?
Yeah, no. So it was a pivotal part of where my path is today. I'm a coach and consultant. I work with all different systems. So I've been in the military to business, which was my background, into healthcare, communities. And so, one of the critical things that I work in is around empathy. One of the concerns around empathy. And it's really important. They used to call these soft skills. It's necessary skills. And so, that's part of what I do. I'm a catalyst to help people understand their own sense of self and how they're leading.
And when you came into the programming, you were thinking about how do you want to progress in your career? How do you want to develop as a leader, and then being able to turn it and use that as a platform to help others become better leaders and help organizations move forward? Were there certain experiences in your program or certain skills that you picked up that you said, wow, that just lit a light bulb off in my head, like I get this now and I can translate that to what I'm doing?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me with Salve was the psychological safety. That piece I had never been exposed to before in business. And just being able to sit in a room and have a conversation at a deep, vulnerable level with people so that they can move forward, it was healing for myself and for others. So that piece was extraordinary, definitely. And that a big piece of what I do now is around culture and creating that environment for safety.
And can you kind of give an example of how maybe you've been able to bring that into the engagement with a client and help a client achieve a certain goal that they've articulated?
Sure. So I can tell you a little bit about a leader that came to me. I was coaching him individually. He was really struggling with his team. There were two team members that were having issues. And the leader was having difficulty kind of facilitating that. So brought me in, and I was able to set the stage or set the room in a place of facilitating that safety. And what's amazing about the process is people were able to be vulnerable. They were able to share that and then move it aside and say, okay, how can we move forward? So the dialogue was rich. And from there, then they continued around their values. They did shared values, team values. And, I still keep in touch with that leader. And he thanks me all the time for just being able to facilitate that in a way that everyone felt heard, appreciated, and supported through the process. And I would not have been able to do that without this program. I can say that.
And that is such a universal challenge for managers and leaders in today's world today, because leadership is about bringing people with different experiences, different perspectives in a team environment. You need all those different experiences, different perspectives, but they don't always jive very easily. Oftentimes, a leadership environment involves conflict, and being able to navigate that conflict in a way that helps move the process forward as opposed to inhibits the process becomes so critical. Michael, I want to turn to you because you're in an industry I know more about than I necessarily want to, because I'm fortunate enough to be married to a physician. So I've been both on the outside and on the inside of healthcare, and seen just how much change has occurred in healthcare, particularly in the last 20 years, but certainly continues to happen. So can you talk a little bit about what your current role is in healthcare and why you chose this program to help you advance in your career in an industry that really needs leaders with these types of skills?
Absolutely, Jim. So I currently serve as the Director of Privacy and Compliance Operations for Lifespan, which is a large academic health system in the state of Rhode Island. The program really found me. I actually had two team members who were enrolled in graduate programs at Salve Regina. They were taking a course with Dr. Gordon, and they said, you have to meet this woman. You have to look into this program, because I had been talking to them about wanting to pursue additional education, but not finding the right fit. I have an undergraduate degree in business administration, didn't really want to pursue the MBA, wasn't really interested in doing a Juris Doctorate or anything of that nature. And it took one phone call, one Zoom call with Dr. Gordon, and I was convinced that this was the right program. Being in healthcare, like you said, Jim, the last 20 years, it's been substantial change. And the speed with which change is happening faster and faster. Compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic and the impact on our workforce, the need for really strong, really thoughtful, really value-based leadership is needed right now. And one of the things about the program is very early on, there's the conversation about the type of leadership that got us into this situation is not going to be the leadership that's going to get us out. And as someone who's in healthcare, because I feel strongly about the compassionate way that we can care for our patients and the ways that we can improve the systems that care is provided in, being able to become one of those leaders and help to foster other leaders who are that change is really why I'm here.
I think what you just said really struck a chord with me, because when I think about healthcare and I think about the evolution of organizations today are so much more matrix than they are hierarchical. And the problems that are being solved in teams and in groups, and not necessarily by command and control and somebody saying you will do this. And there's no better example of that in healthcare, when you're dealing with so many different constituencies who have many different strengths that they're bringing to the table, but have to be facilitated. And so facilitative leadership is really the leadership dynamic going forward. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the facilitation skills that you've gotten through this program and how you've been able to apply them even before the completion of the degree right now while you're immersed in it?
Absolutely. And this is one of the programs where I was able to immediately, and I've been able to immediately put the work that we're getting in the class right to work at the office. As I'm learning, I'm immediately able to use my career, even my family life, as a learning laboratory. And as you said, in matrix organizations, like a healthcare organization that I work for, being able to create a space for conversations that are not easy to have is really important. Being able to approach a situation without making any assumptions, being able to create an environment where all voices are heard, and that you can create an environment of collaboration is really important. And I found, in one of the courses, we learned about the ladder of inference, where you make a lot of tell yourself stories and infer things about a person or their beliefs or what's happening without truly understanding. And that was something that, working in the compliance environment where we're dealing with really challenging problems every day, being able to make sure that I was checking those inferences at the door, making sure that I was coming to the table with curiosity rather than judgment, has really opened new doors to me and really has created an environment where I'm able to have the hard conversations and have them in a way that facilitates change and makes others join in on the process and want to be a part of the solution rather than contributing to the problem.
Dr. David Altounian, I want to bring you into the conversation here because you have a really interesting background in the tech world, and you bring that to your role here at Salve, both as vice provost, but also as a professor in the classroom. Can you talk about what you've brought from your experiences in the tech world, which is an entirely different industry than healthcare or in leadership development, very different set of people that you have to manage, different expectations, different products. What do you bring into the classroom? What are you hoping that your students are receiving in terms of knowledge, and what is it from the tech industry that you've been able to bring forth in the Leadership Dynamics program?
Sure. So I spent about 30 years in the tech industry, the last 5 years as a CEO. So I've seen a lot of change and transformation that happened in the tech industry. It moves very, very quickly. It used to be the tech industry that was what moved quickly, and now all industry is moving quickly. Transformation and change is ongoing. It's something that has to be managed well, and leaders have to lead teams through that. A leader can lead a team successfully, or a leader can actually stifle success during the change. One of the things that's been around in the tech industry for a long time, because of the way the tech industry grew up, was the cross-generational management issues. A lot of the tech people that started in the 80s and 90s were kids that started in computers and became engineers and all that. Well, that's happened throughout all industry now. And cross-generational management is a major issue. Cross-cultural management is becoming a bigger issue. Expectations among different players in the workforce is different. As a matter of fact, I'd say it's not even in the workforce. You see this in nonprofits. You see this in families. As we've gone through this COVID pandemic, as Michael said, it's created change and challenges for almost everybody. So understanding the tools that are available and understanding how to manage through those are really important. I think it starts with what Dr. Gordon said about knowing yourself and your blind spots and where you can add value. And then it goes on to how do you actually influence the groups around you, and how are you empathetic to the different groups and different organizations. So that's what I'm interested in. I'm really interested in managing at the transformation point, managing change, and managing where there's cross-cultural and cross-generational issues. I think these are becoming more and more pronounced, and they're providing greater opportunity for leaders that know how to navigate through those.
So, Dr. Gordon, let me bring it back to you and ask you to define a little bit the structure of the program. How is the program delivered? Because I think one of the advantages of this program is the level of flexibility and accessibility that allows for students that are currently working, that may be located in other areas of the country, to take advantage of the really unique experience that Salve provides in offering this type of program through the lens of the Mercy Critical Concerns and facilitative leadership.
Yes, thanks, Jim. Our program is structured in such a way that most of it is virtual. However, it's virtual synchronistically so that students really get a chance to get to know each other wherever they are, wherever they're signing up from. They are meeting at least once a week together to sit down, even in a virtual environment, to get face-to-face, to be able to share the learning and share the experiences and build in conversations that matter to each of them that they can then take and bring back to their own work environment. So structurally, that's the way we've worked it.
And I know for both of you, you've said that that was really an important consideration for you in choosing this program, was the flexibility that you were looking for.
Yeah, flexibility was really important to me. Although when I graduated back in 2013, it was in person, so it was pre-pandemic. Even being in person, I really was able to do it as an executive, as a mom of 3. So I found that the program did help support that. And now, after the pandemic, like so much dynamic has changed where the world is virtual. So I'm sure it's helped support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I had the same concerns, Lisa, as, having a very busy job, having also family and personal obligations outside of work, having a program that really fit well into my life and was something that I could enjoy and didn't feel additional stress from was really important. And being able to find a course load that really fits that was really special. And to the point of being able to attend courses virtually, I was actually in Florida attending a class when I was traveling with friends and family. So being able to really be a part of the program and to be able to be a part of the program without feeling like I'm giving up anything. I'm able to be a part of my family. I'm able to really put in the hours and deliver at work. And I'm having a program that's really actually helping me to support doing all of those things because I'm learning and growing and being able to lead in a way that I haven't before.
Well, and it also sounds like, and come back to, Dr. Gordon, what you were saying about bringing those experiences in the classroom, it also must be a really great opportunity to kind of workshop issues that you're having in your day-to-day experience to say, hey, I've got this challenge in the office, not sure where to work it out, but now I'm in a group of people that might be in different industries, but might have shared experiences and can really help me navigate what might be a difficult situation.
Absolutely. And in the current course that I'm taking, there is a broad range, and there's everything from recent graduates who are just starting out in their careers and learning their own leadership style and skills to a member of our course is a leader in a local police force. Being able to see the similarities in the issues that we're facing and the ways that you can approach them really has been profoundly helpful. I mean, we find very often when you're surrounded by other healthcare leaders, we're thinking in the same box. Whereas when you're working with and troubleshooting issues with others who are working in different industries, often there's an idea that's just fresh and different and something that they may be doing that would never occur to me as a healthcare leader. So it really is a working laboratory. Our classes, when we have time to really connect with our other classmates, it's a working laboratory and really a leadership support group in some ways, where we're able to say, this is what happened this week. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm working through. Can you help me if you encountered something like this, is there something that you might be able to provide as far as guidance? And it really is amazing that even though things may seem very different, healthcare, versus police work, there is more similarity there than you might initially imagine. And being able to really connect and understand those different industries also helps in healthcare, where we do interact with police officers when they come into our emergency department, or emergency workers who are coming in with the ambulances. So being able to understand their issues only helps us as healthcare leaders to be able to support and to collaborate with those cross-industry collaborators.
Well, because ultimately leadership is a humanistic activity.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And to be able to bring that concept of it not just being theoretical, that you're talking about dealing with real people in real situations with real dynamic issues that have to be solved. And they have to be solved in a way that is thoughtful, that is considered, and that ultimately moves an organization forward.
Yes.
I want to just say, though, that what also differentiates this program is that it is academic. You do get theoretical frameworks. And so what is really valuable is taking the experience that Michael was talking about with those people in the classroom and applying those theoretical frameworks and realizing it works this way for the police officer, works this way in healthcare. And so you're getting both. And this is why it's a leadership dynamics of practice, because you're getting both the practice component and the theoretical component. And I think that's a huge differentiator from just taking a regular leadership program, is you're getting the underpinning frameworks and theories that you can use throughout your career, throughout your experiences, even away from your career. It's providing that baseline set of frameworks. So that's a difference.
Yeah, if I may, we walk the line between theory and practice, that we cannot think about theory that we can't also apply. But we are very much interested in how our students take both and really work with them.
And I would say, 9 years out of graduation, right, I'm still applying those frameworks. So like the 4 frames and the ladder of inference, like as you were talking about it, I was thinking, I just brought that up yesterday. It's really amazing how much it does still grow into what's happening now, and even more so, I feel. Yeah, even more so.
Well, wonderful. I think this has been such a wonderful conversation to come to a greater understanding of what this program has to offer and what type of individual can benefit from it. Really, it seems to me that anyone that is interested in leadership, that is looking to rise in an organization, perhaps moving into a management position for the first time or moving into upper level executive position, will benefit from the skills and the knowledge that come from recognizing how organizations work, how modern organizations need the people that can bring groups together to solve problems, and the necessity of society today to have strong facilitative leaders that are going to move organizations forward during a challenging time for all industries. And really any industry will benefit from having leaders that have had this type of training and this type of experience, both from an academic perspective and a theoretical perspective, as well as being able to bring together the practical application of skills that happen when you have a group of people sharing together what they are seeing in their day-to-day experience and solving those issues. So Lisa, let me turn back to you. You are a professional consultant that consults on leadership and practice. From your perspective, what is leadership?
So from my perspective, I think leadership before I got into the program was much different than leadership when I got out of it, right? So leadership is not a title. It's not a title on a wall. It's none of those. Leadership is about your own sense of self and how you live into your values, And so it's really important that everyone understand that this program is beyond just the title on the wall. It really is, who are you? What are the values you hold dear as a leader? And how do you work with others to facilitate change in an organization? Change is not going to stop. It's ongoing. So, yeah.
And Michael, what are your thoughts on the same topic?
So I completely agree with Lisa. And I think one of the things that was really a surprise to me when I entered the program is how much of the work really was about me. Understanding my values, understanding how I recharge as a leader, because with the long hours, with the challenges that we face every day, whether it be at home with your family or whether it be actually in the office, understanding the why and why you're doing it and being able to connect with those values is really an important thing. And I'm currently in a course on resilience, and it's been a profoundly helpful course. And that really, when we're facing the challenges that we face today, being able to be a leader who is resilient and also promotes resilience in your team is just so valuable. So like Lisa said, I think a lot of the work is internal, and then from doing that internal work, you're really able to lead real change in the groups and systems that you work in.
Yeah, and I would also say it drives purpose like no tomorrow. Like since I've graduated from this program, the breadth has expanded, and I just feel really propelled to make a difference. I think that's the biggest piece of this program. It transforms you in a way that's really powerful, that you can take it out to others.
I would also like to add that leadership does not equal manager alone. Leaders are everywhere. And so, if you talk about a technical person may be an individual contributor, but they may be driving leadership by the way they perform and the way they act in the workplace. Community leaders don't necessarily have to manage people, but they can lead change in a community. Volunteer leaders. Leadership goes through all around. I'll even say family leaders. Leadership is a skill that you have, and it frequently translates to manager and executive in the workplace, but it's not limited to there. And I think it's really important to understand leadership does not equal manager. Leadership equals leader.
Yes, and they provide different services and different functions. And we need both. But this program is focusing on the leadership and the aspect of leadership that we've been talking about today.
And to David's point about it not being about a title, one of the things I think was also really interesting is we often talk about good leaders and people that have inspired us to become leaders. And it wasn't CEOs that were being listed. There might be one or two there. It was mothers, it was fathers, it was coaches, it was grandparents, it was teachers that they had, or camp counselors that they encountered while growing up. That was something that was really profound and that stays with me, is recognizing that leadership is something that you can do regardless of title, regardless of where you're located. You can do it wherever you are. And I think that's really important, that everyone has the capacity to be a leader, and it is a skill that you can develop. It's something you can learn. It's not something that you're just inherently born with.
Right.
And I love what you said before about beginning with the why. I think often as leaders in organizations, we sometimes get mired in, we have to get this done because it's on the to-do list or because it's been prescribed, as opposed to thinking about, why are we doing this? What is the end goal? Who will ultimately benefit from what we're doing? And how do we get there together? And to me, that's the essence of facilitative leadership, that you have to know why you're doing what you're doing, have a purpose. And if you're purpose driven, if you're working to make a difference, then leadership becomes much more natural and driven from a place of empathy as opposed to something that is imposed.
Yeah, it's about creating meaning, right? So at the end of it, it's all meaning making is important to every human being on the planet.
I would say meaning and trust.
Yes.
Building trust. Because I think people will believe the meaning and the why if they have trust.
Yes.
And so I think those are very closely related.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think understanding how everything is connected and understanding how our impact, so in our corner of the world where we're able to facilitate change, really does have an impact on our community, on our state, and then eventually, on our world and beyond. So I think being able to understand that even though you may not feel like you have the profound capacity for change, by making small incremental change every day, by leading where you're able to, you really can impact those bigger issues.
Again, thank you for joining us to learn more about the Leadership Dynamics in Practice program at Salve Regina University. If you'd like to know more, contact the Office of Admissions. One of our admissions officers would be happy to speak with you about the admissions process, which is very streamlined, as well as how we can find the appropriate time and place for you to join this really amazing and necessary program. Again, this has been Seaside Chats. We hope to see you soon in a class on our campus. This has been Salve Regina University. Thank you very much.